Jatasura, a dangerous Asura, but disguised as a Brahmana, is part of the retinue of Brahmanas that is going with the Pandavas. Now, Jatasura distracts the other people and is successfully able to kidnap Yudhishthira, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Draupadi while Bhima is not looking. As he tries to run away with them, most likely with an idea to eat them, Sahadeva somehow escapes and runs towards Bhima for help. Yudhishthira is berating him and saying, "We trusted you. I always knew you were an Asura, but since you caused us no harm, I left you alone. But we have caused you no harm. Why would you want to hurt us?" And as Jatasura is laughing, he turns and finds out Bhima has arrived. And in quick time, Bhima is able to kill Jatasura, save everyone, and come back. This is the Jatasura Vadha Parva. Now, what happens next is a bit of a repetition of what has already happened. Draupadi once again smells a beautiful flower, expresses desire for it. Bhima goes to find it and along the way finds a large army of Yakshas, Rakshasas, and Gandharvas and is able to quickly kill them all and get that flower. And when he comes back, he realizes something interesting has happened. Arjuna is back. Arjuna regales the brothers and the wife with stories from the Indraloka. He describes all the adventures he has had and starts showing off the weapons that he has received from the various gods. The gods have clearly warned Arjuna that these are not toys, these are not regular astras, these are not just simple arrows that you can use for fun. These are to be used in a battle only and only when no other alternatives are available. But Arjuna gets carried away and starts shooting some of those divine weapons into the air. And even as the Pandava brothers are enjoying this spectacle and show off, it feels as if the whole universe may come to the end because when no target is given to the divine astras, they turn upon the universe itself. Indra, the lord of gods, comes down to earth, stops this destruction from happening, and then summarily scolds Arjuna and all his brothers, makes them realize the responsibility that comes with having so much power and to use it carefully. The Pandavas move into Kubera's garden and live there for 4 more years happily. Now they have spent almost 10 years in the north towards the Himalayas. Slowly, they start their descent back to the southern plains. There's 2 more years to go for this exile, and then they will have to begin their incognito or agyatavasa. But one day, Bhima is tired of sitting around and eating whatever food is available. He decides that he wants to step out for a hunt. And as he is doing that, he approaches a river, and near the river is caught by a constrictor, a snake. The snake coils around him and is ready to swallow him. There's a conversation that happens between the snake and Bhima. Yes, the snake can speak. Turns out the snake is actually a king who has been cursed to take up the most lowly form of a crawling serpent. And this serpent has caught and is ready to devour Vrikodara, that is Bhima. Back in the forest, Yudhishthira senses some bad omens and realizes Bhima is in danger. And he rushes towards the spot where he saw Bhima going, and in due time finds Bhima being devoured. Yudhishthira stops the snake and then engages in a conversation with it. Turns out this snake is Nahusha, a king who is an ancestor of Pandavas. This snake has been cursed and is on the earth to fulfill the punishment for the sins he had committed and had been promised that one of the descendants of his own race will one day come and set it free. Yudhishthira has a long and detailed conversation with the snake about dharma and karma, about the body and the soul, about life and death, about all sorts of philosophical topics. Funnily, during all this time, Bhima is still being constricted by the snake. Somehow, the snake is now happy with the conversation. It is enlightened by the detailed, nuanced, and great answers that Yudhishthira has given and says, the time for my ascent to heaven has finally arrived. He lets go of Bhima, thanks Yudhishthira for saving him from this plight of crawling on the earth and living the life of a disgusting snake depending upon human flesh to survive, and slowly ascends to heaven. Bhima and Yudhishthira turn and walk back into the camp that the Pandavas are resting in. What happens next? You know what it is. Who is Nahusha and why is he a snake? What sin has he committed? Well, it's one of the most interesting stories of Mahabharata. What has happened is Nahusha turned out to be one of the greatest kings of his times. So great that he was actually deserving of the throne of Indra in Indraloka itself. One day, another long story, but Indra is missing. Everybody in the three worlds convinces Nahusha to ascend the throne of Indra. He turns out to be a great king of all three worlds and is ruling with dignity and keeping the well being of all the people in his mind. But soon, power gets to his head. And one day, he decides if he is to sit on the throne of Indra, he is entitled to Indra's wife Shachi also. He also creates a palanquin being carried by the Sapta Maharshis, the seven great sages. And one day, when he is being ferried around by the greatest, most dharmic beings in the world, because the palanquin shakes a little bit, he gets angry and kicks Agastya. Agastya is so angry with this that he curses him to go and become a snake, lose all his merits, and live a disgusting life of a snake, only to be revived and sent back to heaven when a descendant of his comes and releases him from that plight. What happens next? Well, we talked about it already. Yudhishthira comes, talks to him, and then sees him off to heaven.